Hi, morning.
Good morning, Chelsea. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Happy to do it.
You're embarking on the Little Big Bitch tour, and that's coming to Boston. 2 shows at the Wang coming up here on Thursday and Friday. Saturday, you'll be in Springfield at Symphony Hall, and then in Providence on Sunday at the Vet. So you're covering Southern New England thoroughly.
Yes. And Friday night show at the Wang is sold out. So there's only tickets available for Thursday night, FYI.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for letting me know that. So there you go. And then
no problem.
I was reading. So this tour, you're trying to focus on the words are what made you the person and comedian you are today.
Yes.
And I would like, if you could, remember a moment after you got into comedy that kind of changed your path into who you are today. A moment where you said, you know what, I'm going to try this and see if it works. Or a moment you said, hey, that guy, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Can you remember a specific moment like that?
Doing stand-up, you mean?
Yeah, after you got into stand-up.
Yeah, I mean, there were a million moments I told people to F off. I mean, people were giving me the worst advice ever. Or telling me, like I got this Jamie Masada, he's the guy that runs the Laugh Factory in LA. So you do your open mics there and you get like 3 minutes on stage. And I remember my first open mic, afterwards, he goes, listen, you are very pretty and you're going to make women very jealous. I would suggest you, he goes, you're going to meaning that they wouldn't like me and that I would have a problem with men for some reason because I guess that's hard too. And I would have a problem for women. He goes, you're going to want to put some sort of, distraction, possibly a bird on your shoulder.
What?
And I was like, what? I'm like, a bird? And then someone else told me someone else at another comedy club told me I should get a breast reduction because I would be too threatening to women. And I was
oh my God.
First of all, threatening to women, like I'm a woman who loves women. They're going to love me. Excuse my language. Sorry.
That's okay.
Can you believe that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Don't worry about it.
Perfect. So, no, I just, the thing I learned about doing stand-up at that age was don't listen to anyone who's telling you anything. You have to trust your own instincts and you have to know your own value. And I did from a very early age. When I was born, this story is about my coming of age. I mean, the stand-up. When I was born, even when I was born into my family, they had 6 kids already. And I was looking around at my parents. I'm like, this is too many people. I was 3 years old, and I'm like, do we have a savings account? Do I have a dowry? How are we going to get out of this situation? I was like, who is in charge around here? So I just became in charge. And no one wanted to, pay attention to me as a little kid. My brothers and sisters were like, oh, come on, she's a baby. Meanwhile, I was right the whole time. I was like, follow my lead, guys. I'll take us out of this mess. And there's just one story after another of me demonstrating that kind of leadership skills that my family was missing. And then, of course, I have some really juicy stories in this stand-up show about a lot of close calls I've had with men like Bill Cosby. I have a great Bill Cosby story. Not a lot of people can say that.
Yeah, I know.
I have a great Woody Allen story.
Oh, dear.
I have a really good story about going to Kenny Bunkport, very, very stoned. I have gone about 3 edibles because my sister's like, you need to subdue your personality if you're going to be around a Republican leader. I was like, no. So, yeah, I have a good Andrew Cuomo story because that's when he was on the scene, remember? And everyone was so into Andrew Cuomo, myself included. I was trying to get penetrated by him. So I went on The View, and I announced it to Woody, to Joy, and Whoopi. I was like, girls, I don't want to leave this Zoom, because it was COVID, obviously. And I said, I don't want to leave this Zoom without expressing to the world, because I wanted it to get back to Andrew Cuomo. I'm expressing to the world that I would like to be penetrated by the governor. And he called me about 72 hours later. So
he did call.
Great
okay.
Andrew Cuomo. He did call. I have a great Andrew Cuomo story, and I have some, my stories are all true and outlandish because that's the kind of life I lead. So, yeah, it's been really fun, especially being able to get on stage during this time when there's so much madness happening and so much anger, and I just feel more purposeful than I ever have in delivering that kind of reprieve for everyone. I think it's as soon as COVID happened, I started touring again, and I had taken a big break because I just felt the need to supply that. I was like, I can provide an hour and a half of you forgetting that, the world is on fire or the world's a mess or all of these things. It's a great reminder of joyfulness and togetherness, and howling with laughter next to a stranger is kind of almost the best gift you can give someone, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that really, it's true. It's, laughter brings us together because obviously that's the one thing you have in common. If you're both laughing at the same thing, there's definitely, then that means that there's some kind of opening there for people to get along.
And it's and it's goodness. There is goodness in this world, and there's fun, and, and laughter is the best medicine. That's, a saying and an adage because it's true. So, so I am actually really happy to be doing this in this time.
So I was watching an interview with you, and you said, I got into comedy because, quote, I wasn't good at anything else. And I kind of find that hard to believe. There must be something else you're good at besides comedy.
I mean,
anything, Wordle, cooking, auto body, physics, anything?
I mean, no, physics, no. I'm not really skilled in much else. I mean, my sister always was like, you better make it because I don't know what else you're going to do. Like if I were I don't know. I'm good at reading books. I would read tons of books, so that's good. But I don't think that's really a job. I mean, I guess it could be. But, no, I'm good at skiing. I can ski really well.
Okay.
And I can read really well. And I can tell great stories. I mean, that really is my gift. Listen, everyone needs to find out what they're good at and run with it. And that's what I've done.
Right. Absolutely. Now, you're doing this tour, and I know you've expressed an interest to maybe get back on television and doing another talk show. But do you want to pursue television or pursue, because now you don't really have to be on TV. You can be online or something. And there are other comedians or other people who have been very successful without, having to do something on television. But is that something specific?
I was interested in The Daily Show. I guest hosted that, and I was interested in that. And I was, one of the top contenders, and I thought I had that job. And then I found out they were giving it to Hassan Minhaj. Well, they didn't tell me. They weren't very honest with me about it. I just heard through the grapevine. And then that went away because, Hassan's whole thing came out about his life. And I just kind of got turned off of that show specifically. Like, it's not about being on late night. It's about having a woman represent, women. Like, there's too many men doing that job. It's like, enough already. We need, even though they're on our side and they're liberal and progressive and they're all for women's rights, we're in a time in this country where, rights are being taken away. You need a woman talking about Roe v. Wade, not a man. You need women representing women. And in the world we're living in with, I was so happy to hear about Taylor Tomlinson getting hired for that late night show that James Coburn or Corden, James Corden show.
Yeah.
Because that's, great. They get it. I mean, the women are dominating the culture. So for them to not, for The Daily Show, they have to hire a woman. Come on, it's time. They've never had a woman. And everyone needs to be look at what happens when women are served up content. Look at Taylor Swift. Look at Beyonce. Look at Barbie, the movie. Women have been so underserved that when you give us, some content, we show up. And, so I was interested in The Daily Show. But, no, I'm not actively trying to get back on late night because that is a crazy schedule. And everything you said is true. I get to tour the world. I get to do my podcast, which has been very successful. And I get to write my books. And I get to vacation 3, sometimes 6 months a year. So I'm not complaining about anything. That's a skill set that I have. You know what I mean? I can get in, regurgitate the news, make it funny. And so I was excited about The Daily Show, but that was just the one thing. So, no, I'm not actively pursuing it. But if the right opportunity comes along where I'm not tied to one city or one, a studio for 40 weeks a year, I would be interested in doing something once a week or a Bill Maher type format.
What would better your chances if you had some kind of bird, like a parrot or a Beretta style cockatoo? Maybe a monkey. Maybe a monkey.
Why can't I get a bird? Oh, I would love to have a monkey. A chimpanzee? Are you kidding me?
That is the most bizarre. I've heard people say things like you should try to do this and that, but You should get a bird is one of the weirdest things I've ever heard. Any advice I've heard.
I know. I tell him, the last time I saw Jamie Masada, I was like, do you remember telling me that I should have a bird? And he's like, I never said that. I'm like, yeah, you did.
Right. That's right. Well, Chelsea Handler, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. Again, it's the Little Big Bitch Tour. It'll be Thursday night show. There are still tickets left at the Wang in Boston. You can also see Chelsea in Springfield at Symphony Hall and Providence at the Vets on Symphony Hall on Saturday, Providence at the Vets on Sunday. Chelsea, thank you for taking the time. Good luck in your ventures here. We really love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.